the side of the map that you want to be using the suction rush from is like from your own bridge kind of thing, whereas the E-liter wants to be sort of moving across the map so it can like rainstorm across both of the zones and that sort of thing. Anyway, we're going to be getting into it already, so let's see what these team comps are going to look like.
Absolutely, guys. This is game 1 of Extermination versus Legacy. This is your losers round 1 of G7. Let's go. So we do have that. Oh, it's actually a vanilla Splat Charger coming out on the side of Legacy, and there's the E-liter coming out on Extermination. So they went with the E-liter. We got Echo there, trying to fight down Fluffy with that extra range.
I guess the classic Moray Towers snipe peeking battle in mid going on right there. Interesting that we've got the Splatterscope versus the E-liter. That's it's classically an E-liter favored matchup for obvious reasons, but having the Stingray available to you means that you can actually deal with the E-liter like every now and then. And one of the key things on this map, as we see Fluffy doing exactly that with the Stingray, one of the key things on this map is once you get the E-liter down, it's like you only need to do it once, and then your teammates can rush in and start keeping the E-liter out of the comfort zone and get them on back foot.
Yeah, definitely. And it was kind of like what happened there. Like it looked like Extermination went 3 players down there, but they didn't quite get the E-liter down, and the E-liter was able to keep their side of the map just locked down completely, so that Legacy didn't have too much success pushing onto that side of the map to set up those sharks. And now it's still kind of a neutral game. Legacy did catch the zone, with Extermination getting down to 47 points. They got a pretty hefty penalty right now, but they're sitting with a pretty comfortable lead just a little bit into the game.
That was a really good trade right there, actually, from Legacy. Oh, actually, never mind, as Nils comes in for the follow-up. So the way, like, the Brella was really key in that push right there because he was able to get the Inkstorm going and basically make sure that Legacy had to, like, focus too hard on the zones. And now we see the Brella's coming back in yet again to try and deal with Grey, but unfortunately the main problem with the Brella is if you don't have that turf control, you're unable to just keep your Brella facing the enemy team, and we see that come back to bite them as Legacy now getting very deep into the Extermination base.
Yeah, going huge with that baller there. The thing about the Brella right now is that when you 1v1 someone with your Brella, it's like a huge advantage for you, but as soon as it's a 2v1 versus you, you're at a huge disadvantage. And that's just kind of the name of the game right now. Lots of players dropping. Looks like Legacy's going to have an opportunity to take that zone back, and they did not quite, or they don't quite have the lead yet, but they got about a 30-point penalty to work through. They're looking to make that happen.
Yeah, so Extermination is they did a really good job of getting Legacy out of the base. So the key thing there is like when you're defending on Moray Towers, you absolutely need to remove the enemy team from your base before they can get to set up and start sharking. And of course, between the baller and just the general short range. Oh, that was a bit of an unfortunate mistake there from I don't know who Yugo1 is, but he's definitely not the real Yugo1. And oh, excellent splat bombs yet again, cleaning up Extermination, and this should be, yes, it is a Legacy retake.
Was that 3 kills for Fluffy?
Something like that. Yeah, and 2 of them being splat bombs, so yeah. The bomb god himself, and yet again we've got more bombs flying in, and the Brella gets taken down.
And look at that, these shots on point. The dude was falling, and he just lands and just gets taken up by Fluffy. Like I said, Fluffy's shots have been on point for the past 2 days. It's good to see that those shots are still flying in the tournament today.
Yeah, it's you can see really. This is the really nice thing about Legacy's play is they're always grouped up. There's always the possibility that they're going to trade off any kills that they. Oh, I'm sorry, any deaths that they take. And now it's the home stretch here. There's only 10 points left on the clock. There's only a few people.
That was a huge kill.
Yeah, it was. Oh, but Extermination coming in with the clutch there.
Okay, so 2 players up on the Extermination right now, and Legacy needs to kind of push it back in. It actually looks like they have control of mid now. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Maybe the members of Extermination were on the respawn. They were almost, or sorry, Legacy were on the respawn. They were almost able to take the knockout there, but it looks like they were cleanly knocked out, and actually Extermination right now in a really good spot. Still lots of points to go on the scoreboard, but they're in a really good spot to actually try and take the lead, if not the knockout here.
Yeah, but here come the specials from the Legacy. Can they get anything done with them? It doesn't look like... Oh, actually, never mind. The baller coming in clutch and saving himself from the splashdown. Looks as though Legacy might be able to actually get both the zones back here and get a penalty.
Really good work
played
from Dan
Legacy.
there to react to the zone being taken on the other side and not use the baller just to waste it on that zone. He went back to the other zone to be able to capture it with that baller. That was very good decision making, and it was what was able to get them that easy penalty there. And so now they're not in so much of a bad situation as they were about 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, that was a really key special rush there. You got the, I think there was a splashdown that actually got dropped on the way in, but the baller, as you say, was key there because he could have just turned around and ball it on the guy who was trying to take him out, but now it looks as though Extermination isn't a... Well, they do have control, but they've also lost the numbers advantage, and as we see right there, Legacy just streams in onto the zone and takes the first game rather convincingly, I have to say. The score was pretty close, but it seemed as though Legacy was constantly pushing up and taking advantage of Extermination in pretty much every turn.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, the score was close, but it seemed that just Legacy was dealing with a lot of penalty, and that's why, like, Extermination would run in, they would capture the zones, they'd activate the penalty, then Legacy would just take control immediately and just get rid of the penalty, get a few points before it happened all again. So that seemed to be kind of what was going on there. For the most part, I think Legacy played very, very strong there on that Mori Tower Splat Zones game. But for game 2, we're going to be moving on to Tower Control Kelp Dome, which is going to be a pretty interesting one to watch for these teams. I know there's a lot of Blaster players on both sides. Blasters, as I'm sure we all know, are great for tower control. And Kelp Dome's a super wide and open map that really benefits Chargers. So I think this might be like kind of like a home field for both of these teams.
Yeah, and the story I want to point out from that last game was the kill-death spread. So at the top of Legacy scoreboard was Fluffy with 13, and at the bottom of Exterminations was Echo with 3. So the Charger mismatch right now, I think, tells the story of why that game was well, it went in Legacy's favor. And as you say, Kelp Dome being so open, and especially being so favored towards Stingrays as well, means that the Charger matchup with Splatterscope versus Splatterscope, for example, is going to be quite important here. Echo's going to need to step up his game a bit in order to keep up with Legacy's play.
Yeah, definitely. It's see when a team uses a Charger as their anchor, that Charger's ability to take out the opposing team's Charger, as well as, of course, as well as the rest of them, is huge. Especially because both of these teams are using a Charger as their anchor. Basically, like, the better Charger is gonna just control the game. It's that way with most teams that use an anchor as like kind of like their main chess piece, their king. I guess their queen would be a better example. It's basically just like the anchor battles, like the person who's in the back with that long range weapon. They can stay alive. They can find those long range picks, and they can act as a jump point for their teams. If they can stay alive and if they can do their job well, the rest of the team's just going to be able to fly through the opposing team. And that's kind of what we saw that last game with Fluffy. They were able to stay up. They were able to find those picks, and that's why it looked like Legacy was just kind of rampaging through them so quick.
Yeah, and the other big thing of that last game that's going to need to carry over into TC here is Legacy were executing very cleanly. So they would always go in with at least 3 people. And on top of that, they would pretty much always have specials to go. So, for example, the 52 would be going in with Baller and basically tanking up all the damage and the initial specials from Extermination, and that got them their zone back, I think 2 or 3 times in that last game. With tower control, it's a little bit... there needs to be more follow-through on those pushes, because instead of splat zones where you just basically, exploit a baller on the zone and there you go, congratulations. The tower control, if you are pushing in with specials to take the tower, especially in Kelp Dome where the tower is kind of slow out of mid, what tends to happen is if you blow all your specials early, your push just loses steam so quickly. And one of the big things with Extermination, especially when they've got Kagu playing for them, I don't think Kaji is Kagu, but
that is
one of the big things. You go as Kiri. Kaji, I don't know who Kaji is.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Never mind. Yeah.
But yeah, so the sort of special execute that was winning Legacy the last game is going to need to be a little bit more sort of smoothed out and spread out in order to carry over into tower control. And Yeah, so we'll have to see. Like the Charger matchup is going to be the big thing, and then whether or not Legacy can take the really strong executes and make them work for a more drawn out push.
Yeah, the thing with tower control, especially on a map like Kelp Dome with these teams, is it's all about your ability to successfully push. It's not about like kind of like that ditch effort just to move the tower. You know, you wipe and you do get a few points on the board. That doesn't normally work in a matchup like this. You kind of need to find a situation where the opposing team's like 2, 3, 4 down. You start pushing the tower, and then you need to like win a team fight again. You need to win that second team fight, and that's pretty much just going to guarantee the win in a situation like this. It's not really one of those games, and the team comps, I guarantee you, it's not going to be something where you can just keep rush, like you can't just keep jumping to your teammates, having one person push the tower and they just die, and then you just switch out and just keep pushing that tower a little bit. It's not going to work in a situation like this. You need to have those successful pushes, and the team that's going to be able to do that is the one that's going to take this one.
Yeah, I agree. And as you said, the second team fight after you've pushed out the tower from the neutral position is the big one. So on Kelp Dome, the thing with the tower is it starts at top mid, right, and that has that sort of downward sort of path out of top mid, and that's almost a checkpoint in itself. Because what tends to happen is because you're sort of stuck in top mid for a little bit, you kind of get caught up, and you have to. Like, you can't really start pushing ahead too soon. And so the big thing is, like, the way I tend to approach it is I tend to try to get my team to sort of, like, neutralize the tower, like, off top mid. So, like, we push it to, like, 80, and then we sort of play out the neutral a little bit. But then, like, the advantage of doing that would be that you then have your specials for like a push from about the 60-point mark. Anyway, enough of that. We're going into the game now. It's going to be Kelp Dome tower control between Extermination and Legacy. Legacy up 1-0 after the win on Splatoon's Moritz. And, well, what do you know?
Okay. We tried. There's a disconnect on the Extermination side. They're going to reset this game probably. Or they're going to keep... no, the rules say they have to stop. Okay, they're stop playing. Okay, all right. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna be resetting this game really quick. Looks like there was an extermination on the side, or extermination on the side of it. I didn't even mean that. That was just an accidental pun. Okay. Yes, they're gonna be resetting this lobby. They're just gonna run this tower in. We're gonna see some of that high quality stalling Splatoon that I'm sure all of you guys love. This is the best part of the game right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, unfortunately, we do have some European connections here. It's just sort of reality.
Look at the tech. I like this tech. Jumping into the bottom of the tower.
And, oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, man.
We're gonna get back into this lobby. We're gonna get this game going as quick as we can. Unfortunate that the disconnect happened, but it's not too big of a deal.
Ah, dear. Oh, well. Well, while we're waiting for this lobby to restart, we've got to point out here that Legacy versus Extermination, the winner of this game, is going to be progressing on in the losers bracket to fight against Team Olive. Team Olive has 3-1 Spanish Army.
Ooh, interesting.
On the other half of this bracket. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the losers bracket, we've got Neptune versus Surge going 3-0 in favor of Neptune. And Saikai taking a 3-0 against Creme Fraiche.
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that one. I thought that one was going to be like a game 5, honestly. Saikai versus Creme Fraiche. That definitely seemed like it would have gone pretty far. But no, Saikai able to 3-0 them. Good stuff there. So Neptune and Saikai are going to be fighting in losers round 2. Team Olive is awaiting the winner of this set, Legacy and Extermination. And guys, if you haven't checked out our winner's side of the bracket yet, which will be entirely streamed, every single game of that will be streamed, you're going to see Quantum versus Rising Moon, and you're also going to see Ethereal versus Elf Firmament. So we got some fantastic matches lined up for you guys there. And right now we're just kind of powering through some losers bracket stuff. This lobby's just about full again, and we're going to get this game going for you.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's good to see Rising Moon back up at the winners bracket. They've been having some difficulties just sort of hitting their stride, I think. Between I think Urza going over to Olive and some of the it wasn't even really internal issues. It was just a sort of lack of motivation, I guess, on some of their members' part.
It was they released a paste bin a while ago about how they were just having trouble finding their footing. Like, it was a different game. They didn't adapt as quick as they would like to, but now it looks like they've sort of made that adaptation. Like, they're in the winners bracket here in G7 with a lot of really good teams. That's good to see. I'm glad to see that Rising Moon has put put in the work, put in the effort, and they're back here among the lists of those top teams like they were in Splatoon 1.
Yeah, and I guess we'll have to see the power of an A Division Ludi team coming up against them in Quantum. Yeah,
Quantum's
so,
a great team, though.
They are.
Quantum,
Oh yeah, they are.
Quantum's
They are
really, really good.
Yeah, it's kind of strange that they're in the A Division in Ludi. That's
whoa, man, we don't talk about Ludi around here.
Let's not talk about it. It's taboo. But anyway, looks like
the game's about to start. They're just setting up the
finally.
teams. Weapons should be picked. I think they're all just gonna slam that A button.
Mash that A button.
Make sure to mash that follow button on Endgame TV1 if you're looking for some more great Splatoon content.
Please don't do that. Please don't. The YouTube impersonation, not like the follow button. Do the follow button thing. Don't
do the follow button.
Don't pretend to be a YouTuber. That's just that's a cursed existence. So Banana.
Good to go.
Banana's taking his time here a little bit.
They need to take off their disconnect gear, the latency up gear. They need to take it off. Taking a look at the bracket here, there's no other updates that we've gotten in the last 30 seconds. I'm not sure if Neptune and Saikai are going to be starting. I think they're waiting for stream, I believe. I'm sure I can get a confirmation on that. I'm pretty sure they're just going to be waiting. Oh, and another disconnect on the side of Extermination. Fantastic. We're going to be resetting this lobby one more time. I can't wait.
Well, I mean, at this rate, Extermination's connections are going to be going to bed before they do.
Oh, man.
That,
this is, it looks like the lobby
is having the extended flyover.
So there's an issue in Splatoon where I don't know if it's the host or if there's just like one player not connecting, the game just kind of like won't start, and you'll just be sitting in that little fly around screen at the start of the match for a very long time. We're kind of stuck to that right now. This is great. And there's the communication errors, so people have disconnected. We're going to be talking to the TOs really quickly here just to see. We're going to be talking to the TOs here just to see what's going on and to see if there's going to be some rules put in place here just to see what happens. We're going to be doing our best to get this game going for you guys. Run into a little bit of technical issues, but sit tight and we'll have it for you. The lobby is back up. Looks like they changed hosts. That's kind of what our game plan is right now.
Ah, dear. Yeah, I mean, obviously, online tournaments, you know, you can never get around the massive puddle of water between Europe and America. Sometimes things just sort of don't go as planned.
Yeah, it's rough. It's very, very interesting netcode in this game. Sometimes we run into issues with it. Which, by the way, that November patch has talked about some network changes. We don't know what that entails, but are you being optimistic, or are you just not expecting anything?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay. I would love to be optimistic, and I
we're getting into
I will not lie. I am being optimistic.
I mean, I like to be optimistic. Unfortunately, I am unfamiliar with the concept of optimism. Anyway, if you're just joining us, welcome back to G7 Splatoon.
Everyone's here. 8 players.
All 8 players are in the lobby. That means we are allowed to hype this game up. It is Extermination versus Legacy. Legacy up to 1-0 right now. And we're moving into Kelp Dome Tower Control. So we've got Banana popping in here for... okay, he's decided that he doesn't want Legacy on the map anymore, so
gone in and
just
He's like, sorry for wasting your time, guys. We're gonna end this game as quickly as possible. That's what Banana's saying right now. So Extermination with a really, really huge triple off the start, but for some reason they never grabbed the tower. That's interesting to me. Dan's going for the sharp right now. Dan's in a really good spot. None of them know he's there.
Oh, I think they might know. I think they saw him. They saw him.
They found him.
The rapid blast.
You got the pick up. Okay, he's going for the baller. All right, so Dan, despite getting caught out, is still making some stuff happen. I don't know how that worked out, but he's doing it. Good job.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was talking about before the game, all those many years ago. How with this map, getting out of mid one tower control is kind of the trick because it's very slow to move out of mid with the tower, and you can sort of see that kind of bit Extermination in the backside a little bit there. But now we got Legacy coming in. Their push is probably slowing down a bit here. They're kind of running out of players, but you can sort of see how the because it took so long to get out of mid, Extermination was able to get their players back together and mount a really effective defense. Banana having to use a bit of a zoning. Oh, never mind. There's the suction bomb.
Suction bomb there. Yeah, I didn't even see that one either. So yeah, like Extermination had a really good start there, but they didn't really get too many points off the tower. They got a whole 11. And Legacy did a really, really good job pushing back in, taking them out, and they're actually still doing a good job trying to hold mid here. It's kind of a neutral game right now. There's not really one team with a clear advantage. The map controls in favor of like both teams at the moment. But it actually looks like,
said,
yeah, it looks like Extermination is now trying to change our minds there. Wow.
Yeah, once again, Extermination. It looks as though Banana decided he was having enough of that, and with a bit of cleanup there from the Stingray, it looks as though Extermination has managed to get the. Oh, never mind. Looks like Legacy's getting back on the defensive.
Yeah, something that I've learned about this set so far in the entire one game that we've watched over the past 30 minutes is that Legacy is really good about pushing out of like holes. They're really good about getting out of space slots.
I was gonna say, Dan shouldn't have been alive just there, but then he finally got the message.
This is such a weird. There's so many bomb kills in this match. What is happening? This is not Splatoon that I'm used to. It's just everyone's dying to bombs.
Between the roller and the bombs, it's like everyone's just sort of exploding and having heart attacks. It's like you can't really.
Even Czar's having issues right now. He cannot switch to someone without them dying.
What was that curling bomb? Excuse me? It just sort of bounced back and forth, and then it just pulled a right-hander and fucking... Sorry. It destroyed Dan. That was quite something. Okay, well, hopefully this game sort of becomes a little bit more sane in the next 30 seconds so that we can catch up. It looks as though Legacy is getting mid-control back together. And Savage dies to a curling bomb. That seems to be the theme for this game. Okay, so we've got basically everyone's just going back and forth, throwing bombs at each other, and rollers are like killing everyone on the map.
Whoa, Echo, what?
Echo getting the tap shots off, and that's another wipe there for Extermination.
No, that was huge. I did not expect Echo to come out on the top of that engagement, but he did. And now Extermination's got this tower push. They got to get up to 40. Oh, actually, no, they have the lead right now, so they just got to keep going. They're just trying to accentuate that and see if they can make their score a bit higher. Again, this is 1-0 for Legacy right now, so if Extermination is able to take this game, they're going to be tying it up. This is best of 5. Every single game today is going to be best of 5, except for the grand finals, which are best of 7. So Extermination doesn't want to deal with this advantage. They want to take this. They want to make it 1-1. They want to tie it up. They're not done yet.
Yeah, well, speaking of not done yet, this push is still going. We're getting to the point now where the push is starting to snowball a little bit as it...
Yeah, 3 down.
3 down here. It's the last checkpoint here for Extermination. Dan's going to pull out some miracles here with... if he's, well, that would count as a miracle, I guess. The curling bomb killing 2 people on the defense. And Legacy's still got a little bit of life in them.
Yeah, it's probably going to be an overtime push at this point. Like, there's only one of them left. They got to make it up to 8 points to take the lead with 30 seconds. It's going to be an overtime push if they want to make this happen, but it's going to be a difficult one because Extermination has a rapid blaster, they have a charger and a roller that can run around the shark. It's going to be
very
really
defensive
lineup for them to take this game.
Oh. Well, Braze decided to remove Banana from the game, so it looks as though there is some hope here for a push. There is a numbers advantage for Legacy, especially after that. It's a 3-down situation.
It's just the roller left who's sitting over by the right side there. Banana's looking to find those picks. He gets 1. Okay, so Banana is the key player right now. He gets 2, and yeah, he's going to grab the tower. Fantastic play from Banana there to push in, find those 2 picks, grab the tower. That was really good stuff.
Yeah, that the Ninja Squid roller coming in clutch there, it's so difficult to deal with on those open maps. Basically, any kind of turf control just becomes basically...
a dead zone. Like, you just don't go there.
Yeah, you just don't go there. It's
I've seen so many people running Ninja Squid recently. Like, it's crazy. Everybody's playing it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think people have started to
Ninja
just, like,
Squid.
realize just it's good.
It's crazy, because obviously, like, the penalty it gives you is you don't move quite as fast, but the thing is, you can just run a bunch of swim speed and forget all about that. But what it does do is mean that you no longer have to worry about people seeing the ripples that you're making. So if you're trying to be stealthy, you can still go at max speed across the map. It doesn't matter. And so, like, on top of that, if you've got any kind of painting sub, like a curling bomb or a burst bomb or something like that, you can basically just pull ninja tricks and just, like, throw a bomb at your feet and then immediately disappear, and there's nothing short of a point sensor that the enemy team can do about it. And that's basically what the Rollers have been doing on both these teams in that last game.
Yeah, it throws me off a lot because I play like 10 attacks and short range shooters and stuff like that. So I'll just be fighting like a roller or something like that, and then they're just gone at some point. It's like if you don't have like proper turf control, fighting a Ninja Squid is very, very difficult, because if they don't want to fight you anymore, they're just gone and you can't tell where they went, and that's the most frustrating part.
Speaking of frustrating,
we're sitting in the lobby here, and there was another disconnect. So this is great. This is a fantastic set. I hope you guys are able to bear with us. We might be putting some rules down. We might be slamming down the rule book here if this continues, and we're gonna reset this match and get it going for you guys as soon as we can. As always.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the game's starting up. It's Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track for the next set. I guess we can talk about this in the meantime.
Yeah.
Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track is, I like to call it the Black Belly Rainmaker of Splatoon 2, even more so than Black Belly Rainmaker, because Black Belly Rainmaker has been, for the most part, fixed in Splatoon 2, but Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker is similar to Black Belly Rainmaker from Splatoon 1, because it's kind of just like a one and done. If you win one team fight and you have the Rainmaker and there's paint on the ground, it's just over. Game's done. You get a knockout. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, but I can see where you're going with that. The main thing I'd say is there's a bit more, I guess, subtlety to it, where like you actually have to have a bit of a setup going in order to get that like one and done kind of thing. Whereas in Black Belly Rainmaker, it's just like,
oh, actually, it looks like they're playing the game. Maybe.
I think they're just knocking it out.
No, they're not. They're definitely playing the game. They might be just doing a 3v4. Yeah, it looks like they're playing. They have not stopped playing the game. So, Extermination right now is kind of just going. I don't know what Echo's doing.
Echo's doing some stat padding.
Yeah, he's just farming the kills. Okay, well there you go.
I'm
pretty sure that was a real game. Pretty sure that was a real game, because the rules state that you need to stop playing if you want to do a restart, and they did not stop playing. They were playing the game definitely. So I'm pretty sure that was a real game. I'm sure we can get confirmation from the TOs. And if it is, it's really going to be 2-1 Extermination.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate way to go out, if so. I mean, it's not, the set's not over yet, but if we're getting disconnection problems to the point where basically it's whoever's internet dies last, it's not exactly a showcase of skill. Like, the games the games we have got have been great, but there's just been some, it's like Naruto, there's a lot of filler in between.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I guess as we were saying about Pump Track, so I actually, speaking of Set to Destroy X, one of the things that I actually really liked about the way they played the Squidstorm finals, if you cast your mind back, was like, you were talking about the one and done kind of thing, and they actually had a really, really good setup where basically, like, if you have the enemy team sort of quad area painted, that's when the snowball starts rolling, right? Because once you've got the Rainmaker sort of between the enemy, between you and the enemy team spawn, so that you can sort of get behind it and they can't, like, you know, go on the flank to pincer you or anything like that, that's when things get really difficult on Pump Track. But then again, on the other side of the map, you've got the left-hand path, which if you do get pushed into your plat, or if you're sort of willing to take the Rainmaker backwards, you've also got the zip line over to the right, to the left-hand side of the map, which is it's like it's kind of one of those sort of gimmicky pushes where if people don't see it, then that's sort of what you need for it to work. But at the same time, it's sort of a different setup at that point, because it also makes it like really easy to punish like an overextension. So if the enemy team's like pushing super hard and you manage to get the Rainmaker like out of your base before they've fully pulled back at the end of a push, you can actually make like a break for it and just get straight up the left side and get a ton of points too, because like once you actually hit the high ground on the left side, you get like to 20 something. I think 28.
Yeah, I think it's like low 30s.
Yeah. So like you can just like, and that's basically the same as pushing all the way to the zip line on the normal path. So
yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. And I definitely agree with that. We do have update from the TOs. That was a real game that was counted. So it is now Extermination 2-1 over Legacy. And if there are any more disconnects in this set, it's just gonna be played out. They have to play 3v4. They have to do whatever. They don't want this set to take any longer, and we don't want this set to take any longer. So we're just gonna try and power through these as quick as we can.
Yeah, we definitely want to make Extermination's bedtime. So, yeah, we're moving on to Splat Zones on Sturgeon Shipyard. So we've actually, again, both of these teams tend to run. Actually, I'd say that, but it doesn't look as though Fluffy's in the lobby. So we aren't going to be seeing the Charger versus Charger battle unless someone else on Legacy is going to be taking up the reins. However, so we've got Splat Zones on Sturgeon Shipyard. Now, this is one of those maps where it's kind of classic. Like we've seen so many games now that have been dominated by the Ninja Squid Roller on this map, because it's so easy to just have the curling bombs go flying through mid. You got the splashdowns, you got the ballers coming out of basically nowhere because there's so much cover, there's so much verticality, and then on top of that you got the weapons like the sloshing machine, which absolutely love the cover and verticality of this map, because I mean, between the main weapon and the Stingray, there's so much utility on having something like a machine, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if either of these teams are willing to run one.
Yeah, something that I've noticed about this map and a lot of the teams is that Octobrush is played on this map. Despite the Inkjet not being too amazing right now, Octobrush is very, very heavily used on this map just because of how well it can control the high ground and control the mid, and how difficult it is to push onto it in a lot of situations, because there's so many good places to set up a shark in this map, and the Octobrush is like the perfect role for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we're moving into the game now, and it's if you're just joining us, we've had some connection problems, so it is currently 2-1 in favor of Extermination. And this is game 4, moving into Splat Zones on Sturgeon Shipyard. Looks like we've got Chill moving over to the side here, trying to set up a bit of a defense, I guess, preventing Extermination from getting in too deep. And indeed, we do have a charger on both teams. I wasn't sure what Nika actually plays, but nonetheless, we've got Legacy taking control of the zone here. Extermination did have it for a moment there, but
Big Stingray. Big Stingray. Trying to find 3. Okay. Still gonna be 2 down now. I saw one of the players was running, I think, quick respawn stealth jump. Yo, not Flox. Wow. Zara, do you think you like pop up the map for like a second and I could see who that was, just so we can keep an eye on them?
Anyway, well,
okay.
In the meantime, we've got
whatever.
We've got the specials coming out here from Extermination. They haven't really gained much ground off it. They've got 1 kill, but it's traded back in Dan's favor. And Extermination's has blown like 3 specials now, and they haven't got the zone back. Legacy's counter is still going down. They haven't even neutralized it at this point. Banana's trying to move up, but he's marked. He can't really do anything at this point. And he does get taken out by Dan, who's now on the receiving end of a Stingray. But that Stingray chasing Dan means that it's not chasing anyone else, which means Legacy can just recap the zone. This might be a quick knockout.
Yeah, I don't really understand what happened there, because Extermination, as you said, was throwing... Oh, wow, that was a good shot. They were throwing like every single one of their specials at the zone, but they couldn't even neutralize it, let alone take it. And that was really weird. It was just like the strength of Legacy's defense. They just did not want Extermination to be able to get back into this game. They were not too happy about the game that they lost due to the disconnect from 3v4 and Humpback Pump Track. And
yeah, absolutely.
They don't want to leave this set just yet.
Yeah, and I want to point out, it was a really good play on the Splattership Pro's part. You saw at the very end there, it was sort of in a 1v3 kind of situation, but the Pro actually managed to get away. And oh, there's the
splashdown battles. He who splashdowns second,
gotta love it.
Splashdowns worse.
Dear. Well, the Brella getting taken out as well. It looks as though Legacy might be making a bit of a push back here, and you can see...
Huge pick from the Charger. Taking out that splatter shot was huge because that splatter shot could have painted and taken the zone just completely by themselves. So that pick from the Charger onto the splatter shot was really big. And Extermination looking to take the lead here.
Yeah, but not if Chill has anything to say about it. I got to point out
wow.
The difference between those two pushes from Exterminations earlier and that one that Legacy just pulled off, you could see that they had presence in mid before the specials came out, which meant that even though they kind of petered out on the special a bit, and you can see Chill's just cleaning up, even like he hasn't even died yet since this push started. And because Legacy had a presence in mid when those specials went off, it meant that Chill was able to keep the zone neutral and prevent Extermination from taking the lead. So that was a really clutch play on his part.
Ooh, wow, that was a nice shot. Didn't expect that one to connect. Echo doing work with this Charger right now. He's trying to find a second one as Extermination's able to push back in and take control of middle. And it's going to be interesting because Extermination's on the backside right now. They got a lot of this penalty to deal with. They got a pretty huge buffer in terms of a 60-point penalty on the side of Legacy. So it's basically going to be, can Extermination push back into the middle and can they hold it long enough to take the lead? And right now they just went 3 down, so I'm going to say for the most part probably not. There's about a minute and a half left in the game. Extermination's got to do some work if they want to take this one back.
Oh, nice burst bombs. I gotta say again, Chill coming in absolutely clutch there, getting the double kill, including taking out Echo. What is Mika doing there? Excuse me?
That's the aggressive Charger, the frontline Charger. You don't expect that one.
That is not your base, my dude. Okay, so we've got Extermination coming in, though, because Mika being out of position meant that there was no defense as such. Chill going down means that Extermination no longer has to deal with the raid boss that's been camping the zone the whole game. And now we've got Savage taking the zone back with his team. There's a really good setup here for Extermination, so that's going to be quite difficult to break at the way things are going. There are specials, though, in favor of Legacy. Here they come. Can they get their splashdowns down? Looks as though they've got the zone neutral.
There's the second splashdown, and that's going to be 3 down. Okay, so Legacy still doing good. They refreshed the penalty on the side of Extermination, so I don't really think they're in too much trouble of losing this game. In a few more seconds here, Extermination's going to need overtime if they want to win. 51-point penalty is pretty huge. 20 seconds left in the game, and Extermination has their work cut out for them right now. They are finding picks, though, so it is possible. It looks like they're going to take control of the zone here unless Legacy can come in super clutch right now. Although Extermination does drop 2 players. The Inkstorm is up. That Inkstorm is going to be huge in them in their play if they want to take this back. But Legacy is looking really good in this team fight right now. That trade is huge. There's just one player left. Yeah. It's the Splattershot Pro, and that's going to be it. Legacy's going to take your game 4, and it is now 2-2 going to game 5.
I gotta just point out on the map screen here all those Stingray puddles that are just sort of trailing up to Extermination's base. And actually, that kind of tells a bit of a story there, because you can see a couple of times that Echo was getting his Stingrays off, but they weren't really being pointed at Legacy as such. They were being pointed at like one guy over on the side of the map. Whereas when Legacy was using those Stingrays, they tended to be pointed at the entire team, so they'd quite often get 2 kills. On top of that, both the rollers in that game were the pivot points for each of the respective teams. Chill was basically camping the zone and getting triple kills every time he looked one way or the other. And Banana at the very end there, with the clutch slightly over-aggressive in my opinion, but it worked, I guess. Push into mid at the very end there to give Extermination a chance to get into the overtime. But nonetheless, like, you could really see that how effective it is to have the splat rollers just basically going back and forth in the with how fast they can get in on the back of a curling bomb, and basically just sharking everyone they see. So now, though, we're moving on to Blackbelly Skate Park, which is kind of the opposite in that regard. Like, it is tower control, so the map's a little bit more open, and you can get curling bombs sort of going. But because there's so much sort of detritus around the map that's going to block the curling bombs or make them do unpredictable things, you quite often end up having machines or blasters do a lot of the slaying work.
Yeah, I just want to add a comment to your roller explanation there. The thing about the rollers in Splatoon 2 is they play very similar to the carbon rollers in Splatoon 1. They just trade off a little bit of their speed for some mobility. They have the curling bombs in this game, which lets them move around into the enemy turf. They're a little bit predictable when you see that curling bomb. And, there's probably going to be a roller in it. But the thing about the roller right now is that as soon as you're in melee range of it, like, you're done. It's that simple. You can't really fight that. You can maybe trade. But like, as soon as that guy gets up close to you, you're just gone. and that's just kind of the way the rollers are right now. But we're moving on to Tower Control Black Belly Skate Park. It looks like we have, for the most part, actually not similar team comps coming out from both sides.
So yeah, like I was saying, the Blaster's coming out here for Black Belly. This is all, even in Splatoon 1, this was the Blaster paradise, really. Like the, and you can see as well, big change from Black Belly if you haven't been keeping up with the game, is this left side is completely open now. You can actually get to it from your spawn, and it's one of the things that I probably should stop worrying about that right now, because it looks as though Legacy's got something to say about this. They've already got 3 people down on the second team fight. Moving
the sloshing machine going from the back, though. You do not want a sloshing machine to flank you, and Legacy did a really good job cleaning up that sloshing machine that was behind them. That is definitely a threat. You do not want that on tower control to happen. The sloshing machine just destroys people on the tower with ease. So
game's over.
This is done. Yeah, they can't stop that. That was crazy. That was a really, really quick match. That was a Rainmaker game. That was a Black Belly Rainmaker game.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, that last 20 seconds, which you could fit into one of the brand spanking new Nintendo Switch clip things, was the end of that set. Echo, the only person even getting on the board there for Extermination. That was a absolutely sick push there from Legacy. You saw they had the they swapped out the roller for 2 splatter shots and a Lunar Blaster. The splatter shots getting deep into Extermination's spawn, and the Lunar Blaster was basically playing defense on the tower with the Charger. So that was clinical play there from Legacy, and that's going to put them, at long last, at a 3-2 win against Extermination.
I think what happened there was Legacy just checked their wristwatches, and they're like, "Oh, we're out of time. Let's end this one up quickly, guys." So they kind of just like pushed it really, really fast. They got that last game victory, 3-2 over Extermination. They're going to be moving on to play, I believe, Team Olive, if I can read correctly. Yep, Legacy versus Team Olive, and loses round 2. And we are going to be moving on to the next set. I'm sure I can grab a confirmation for you guys on what it's going to be really quick, and we're going to be moving there after a very short break. No, it was great. That was a fantastic set. Extermination and Legacy, both of them played really well. Of course, we had some of those technical issues. It wasn't the most smooth experience that we've had, but hopefully we can put that behind us, and we're going to be moving on to some fantastic, fast-paced Splatoon games in the future. And I'm going to grab which set we're looking at here.
Yep, so if you're just joining us and missed the bracket update earlier, so we've got in winners at the moment, we've got Quantum versus Rising Moon and Ethereal versus El Firmament. El Firmament, formerly known as Extralamars, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but up-and-coming French team, in fact, that's been doing quite well of late, and it's quite good to see the French scene finally picking up steam yet again. Meanwhile, in the losers bracket, we've got Neptune versus Saikai, which has actually been played in the time that we were waiting for those technical difficulties, and Saikai has taken a 3-1 win over Neptune. So Saikai on a bit of a roll here, having taken out Cream Fresh and Neptune very convincingly.
Definitely, Saikai doing a good job.
And of course, after the last game, we've got Legacy versus Olive coming up. And so we'll be going to a quick break while we're setting up for the next round. And we'll see you guys in a moment.
Yeah, we are going to be watching Quantum versus Rising Moon. Rising Moon. We are moving on to the winners semifinal side of the bracket. We're going to be doing Quantum versus Rising Moon, followed by Ethereal versus El Firmament. That's coming up next for you guys on the stream. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.